The following program is produced at and funded by Lyndon State College, the College of the Northeast Kingdom.
Coming up tonight on a special edition of News 7.
It's Election Day. We've got coverage from both party headquarters with coverage on all statewide and local races.
Republican Scott Milne is looking to upset incumbent Peter Shumlin in the governor's race.
Polls opened early this morning, but some towns saw a low turnout.
Gotta vote. Doesn't matter who you vote for, you got to vote.
Live from the Vermont Center for Community Journalism, this is News 7 at 5:30.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's election edition of News 7. It's election day across the country, and here in Vermont and around the Northeast Kingdom, there are several key races being decided.
We have team coverage from Burlington to right back here in our corner of the state. We start tonight over in the state capitol, where state Democrats and Republicans are preparing to gather and watch returns. News 7's Taylor Young joins us live now with a look at what Governor Peter Shumlin has been up to as he looks for a third term. Taylor?
Thanks, Camille. That's right. I am standing here inside the Hilton Hotel, where members of the Democratic Party will wait for tonight's results. Now, no one from the party is here right now, but this is where they do expect their chief executive officer to arrive at 8 p.m. Governor Peter Shumlin is running for a third consecutive term. The 58-year-old from Putney has served as Vermont governor for the past 4 years and is looking to be re-elected for another 2. Shumlin says if elected, he plans on creating more jobs, raising household income, and controlling health care costs. A recent campaign finance report indicates that Shumlin has received just under $1 million worth of contributions and has spent just under $900,000. Shumlin has said his relief efforts following Tropical Storm Irene are amongst his most notable accomplishments. Now, Shumlin is feeling confident about this year's race against Republican opponent Scott Milne. Reporting live in Burlington, I'm Taylor Young. Back to you guys.
The Republican challenger for governor is Scott Milne. While Shumlin spent roughly $890,000 on his campaign, Milne spent just about a fourth of that, with his expenditures totaling just over $238,000. If elected, Milne intends to revitalize the economy on the foundation of an educated community and well-trained workforce. The full list for governor totals 7 candidates: Dan Feliciano of the Libertarian Party, Republican Scott Milne, and incumbent Democrat Peter Shumlin. Independent candidate Peter Diamondstone and independents Chris Erickson, who is also running for Congress, Bernard Peters, and Emily Payton.
Running for the U.S. House of Representatives for Vermont's congressional district is incumbent Democrat Peter Welch, who is seeking a 5th term. So now let's turn things over to News 7's Nick Oresco, who is also live in Burlington, where the state's Democrats are gathering.
Thanks, Cortland. That's right. Peter Shumlin has served since 2007, and Congressman Peter Welch looks to stay in office once again. Welch is running for re-election for a 5th term and is hoping to have as much success this year as he did back in 2012, where he defeated his opponents by 72% of the vote. Now, Welch ran unopposed in the Democratic Party. Some of Welch's biggest issues on the table include extending subsidized federal student loan rates until 2015. He also sponsors no federal enforcement against legal state marijuana. During his campaign, he has raised just over $1.1 million. Of that amount, just over $16,000 has been spent. Now, Welch is expected to arrive here at the hotel later, as many other candidates are, to await the votes. Live in Burlington, I am Nick Oresco. Guys, I'll send it on back to you.
Thank you, Nick. And for the full ballot for the congressional seat consists of 6 candidates. Matthew Andrews of the Liberty Union Party hopes to give a voice to the voiceless. Republican Mark Donka wants to decrease fuel costs and improve unemployment rates. Independent Chris Erickson has run for governor 4 times and is now taking a shot at the U.S. representative position. Independent Randall Meyer, as well as energy independent candidate Jerry Trudeau, are also running against Welch.
The state's Republicans are also gathering in Burlington tonight. The man who holds the top Republican post in the state is Lieutenant Governor Phil Scott, and he is searching for his 3rd term in office. There are 3 candidates total on that ticket. Dean Corrin is representing the Progressive Party and supports Vermont Health Connect. Marina Brown is in the running as well, representing the Liberty Union Party. Both Corrin and Brown are looking to defeat Scott. Those Republicans and their supporters are starting to gather in Burlington at the Sheraton Hotel to watch the 2014 election results come in. That is where we find News 7's Cassandra Bernier, who has more now on Scott's bid for re-election and what he hopes to accomplish if he successfully is granted another term in office. Cassandra?
Thanks, guys. That's right. I'm here in Burlington for the Republicans' first time not being in Montpelier on election night. Lieutenant Governor Phil Scott, along with other Republicans, will be here at the Sheraton awaiting election results. The Lieutenant Governor was first elected in 2010 after serving 9 years on the Vermont State Senate. He is looking for his second re-election tonight. Scott is running against Libertarian Union candidate Marina Brown and Dean Cloran for the Vermont Progressive Party. And yesterday, Phil Scott spent the day traveling around Vermont, visiting all 14 counties. This was part of his 14-county Get Out the Vote tour. Scott believes that the legislature's top priority needs to be growing Vermont's economy and making families more secure. In the past 3 years, 8,500 people have dropped out of Vermont's workforce. The Lieutenant Governor says that the work needs to be done to contain rising healthcare costs and property taxes. Scott believes that the bills that go through legislature need to be viewed as ways that will help or hurt Vermont's economy. And the candidates are expected to come back here between 7 and 8 o'clock tonight at the Sheraton. Reporting live from Burlington, I'm Cassandra Bernier. Back to you guys in the studio.
State Treasurer is another statewide race being decided today. Democrat Beth Pierce is looking to be re-elected. Murray Gama of the Liberty Union Party is on the ballot, along with progressive candidate Don Schramm.
There are 3 candidates running for Secretary of State for the state of Vermont. Incumbent Jim Condos represents the Democratic Party and has been serving as Secretary of State since 2011. Ben Eastwood from the Progressive Party is running in opposition of Condos. The third and final candidate is Mary Alice Herbert from the Liberty Union Party.
Doug Hoffer is running unopposed for his position as State Auditor for the state of Vermont. This will be Doug Hoffer's second consecutive term in office. Hoffer has been focused on keeping his promises such as more transparency and more accountability. He's also focusing on using the results of his office's audits to better use taxpayers' money. And Attorney General Bill Sorrell is looking to be re-elected once again. The Burlington native is spending the night at the Democratic headquarters where he hopes to celebrate a victory. Sorrell faces Liberty Union Party candidate Rosemary Jakowski and Republican Shane McCormick.
It's the voters that really have all the say today, and around the Northeast Kingdom, residents came out to have their voices heard. We start in St. Johnsbury, where voting got underway this morning, and News 7's Dylan Robichaud was there.
Thank you for voting.
One by one, voters turned out to get their voices heard. In St. Johnsbury, voting got underway at the Father Lively Center starting at 10 a.m.
I almost didn't vote because I've been so discouraged at the national level with both parties, but I figured not voting is a vote.
Gun control issue has certainly brought out a lot of people, and the local issues on school compensation through UVM.
It wasn't just the voters that were out today. Candidates used the final hours to push for votes.
Well, I believe that we really need to have a common sense and reasoned approach in Montpelier. A lot of the problems that we have now is a lack of balance, and I will be able to bring a different perspective so that way it's not going to be just a continued tax and spend policy that really Vermont can't afford anymore.
It's hard to imagine things getting much worse than they were with the rate of the cost of healthcare going up just incrementally every year, exponentially, I should say, every year. I mean, my family was uninsured for 3 years, so I know what the kind of choices that people have to make.
Fay and Will Hoyt are facing Bob South and Scott Beck for the state rep for St. Johnsbury.
Right on there?
Yeah, maybe you can see I voted. I got a right to complain.
For some, just being part of the process is enough to get them to cast their ballots, and seeing their community come out to vote makes a difference.
And I was very pleased when I came into the parking lot and I saw how many cars were there, and that it looks like there's a lot of people coming out to vote, and I'm happy for that.
Once all the ballots are casted, the counting begins. Reporting for the Vermont Center for Community Journalism, I'm Dylan Robichaud in St. Johnsbury.
In Linden, voting opened at 8 a.m. and a steady stream of residents poured through the municipal building. News 7's Rob Krupe has more on what voters had to say.
It's your civic duty. I've been doing this since I was 18.
Each election season, many local voters pay a visit to the voting booths. And this morning in Lindenville, voting for election 2014 got off to a busy start at 8 a.m.
See, I'm so used to voting every year that it's just part of, when they say it's time to vote, I vote. And I think a lot of people don't do that, younger ones.
Some shared that opinion, saying that it's important for the younger generation to have their voices heard.
Definitely. We do not have enough of the younger generation getting into their civic duties, and they should, because as the saying goes, don't be E if you don't vote.
But what really controls everything is probably more money. Money controls it. But you have the fantasy to come here and say, my vote counts.
No matter what the outcome may be, your vote cannot count until you cast your ballot. Reporting for the Vermont Center for Community Journalism, Rob Krupe in Lyndonville.
Polls in most towns, including Linden and St. Johnsbury, are open tonight until 7 p.m. And now Jacqueline Laviolette joins us with our first look at our forecast. Jacqueline, for those voters who have yet to cast a vote on their ballot, what kind of weather can they expect as they make their way to the polls?
Well, Cortland, luckily the rain showers are going to hold off until later on this evening, so they should be in store for some drier conditions here as you end these ballots. And luckily it is staying relatively on the warm side too. Temperature really isn't going to drop a whole lot from now till the end of voting time. Right now, current temperatures across the region, up in the Northeast Kingdom, we're sitting in the mid-40s, and that's about normal for this time of year. Some warmer weather off to our west, and we have had a little bit of a warm up here between yesterday and into today compared to all the cold temperatures that we saw this weekend when we were below normal. You can see some of the clouds as they built in across the afternoon. These clouds are going to stay with us here in the overnight hours as some of these rain showers off to our west start to work their way eastward, and that's what we're going to be in store for here as you head through the overnight hours. But luckily, most of the voters should stay dry. For tonight, though, those overnight showers are going to continue and will be low only in 40 to 45 degrees tonight, so relatively warm out there. For tomorrow, too, definitely the pick of the week. Highs in the mid-50s and mostly cloudy skies, chance of the sun in the afternoon. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Jacqueline. And after the break, we'll be breaking down some of the local races.
With 2 open seats for state senator, one business owner plans to make a splash by making Vermont use local resources.
And with a handful of unopposed candidates up for re-election, most of them already know their role. We continue our 2014 election coverage tonight with a look at some candidates from our local offices.
For Caledonia State Senate, there are 3 candidates running for 2 seats. Incumbent Joe Benning is seeking his 3rd term and believes the most important issue to resolve is how to pay for health care in Vermont. Local business owner Mike Heath hopes to localize Vermont resources and remove state support for big businesses. Incumbent Jane Kitchell has been involved in public service for more than 40 years and plans to focus on budgets for this upcoming term. Winners of the state Senate race will hold office for a 2-year term. With only 2 seats open for St. Johnsbury, 4 candidates are running. Republicans Scott Beck and Jansen Wilhoit look to be elected for the first time, while incumbents Michelle Fay and Bob South represent the Democratic Party and hope to hold their position for another term. If re-elected, South will be serving his 4th term as state rep, while Michelle Fay will be serving her 2nd term.
Republican incumbent Marty Feltes is expected to win one of 2 open seats for state representative of Linden. Feltes, alongside unopposed Republican Dick Lawrence, are both expected to stay in office for at least 1 more term. Feltes is part of the National Resource Committee, believing the focus should be on energy during the upcoming term. And she also plans to focus on healthcare and education costs. During this term, she wants to take a deeper look into how education systems are run and determine if money is going to the right places.
We spend more than most other states do in terms of public education per child, and certainly there's some geographical reasons for that. But nevertheless, it is a very high dollar amount, and we need to determine if there are ways to reduce that. And to find that solution, I think we need some more in-depth study of exactly where that money goes, how it's spent. Are there more efficient ways of doing many of the items that we do?
As for Lawrence, who has been a representative for the last 10 years, he's also focusing his efforts on money. With the cost of living on the rise, Lawrence believes that the biggest issue is the 4,000 people that he represents. It's estimated that the state is over $100 million in debt, and that number isn't decreasing anytime soon. Lawrence thinks that taking a closer look at government agencies could be the starting point for bringing more money into Vermont.
And I think each government agency needs to have an analysis done, and it's difficult to do that when people are trying to protect their jobs, when you're trying to understand how is it that we can improve this, because we aren't after their particular jobs as you do investigations. We're trying to make efficiencies, and they sometimes don't understand that.
Lawrence also wants to focus his efforts on improving river cleanup as well as healthcare and agriculture.
Kitty Toll is expected to serve yet another term as state representative. Toll was first elected into office in August 2008, and she's expected to win this year's election as she is running unopposed. She will be representing Cabot, Danville, and Peacham, and she plans on focusing on lowering the tax property rate and education costs and securing agricultural interests.
I just feel our agricultural background is very important, and that forestry and farming and all types of new agricultural ventures are really the key to our future, and it preserves our heritage.
Kitty Toll also serves on the Appropriations Committee and is currently the primary sponsor of about 173 bills.
It looks as though Connie Quimby will be re-elected as the state representative for Concord. Quimby is running unopposed and was first elected as state representative back in 2012. Much of her support goes towards veterans and the ordinary people, as she plans on continuing to be the voice for her local constituents.
I don't have any real agenda except try to help people in the Northeast Kingdom if I can. We are a very small cog in a large wheel, so whatever I can do to help the people here, will be a benefit.
After serving her first term, Quimby is now the primary sponsor of 55 bills.
Incumbent State's Attorney Lisa Warren is running unopposed for Caledonia County. Warren was first appointed to the position by Governor Jim Douglas in 2009. She has always enjoyed working with the law, and when the position became available, she jumped at the chance. The most important part of the job for Warren is helping victims find justice.
Every time, I charge a case and carry it through to fruition, whether it's by plea agreement or jury verdict or court decision, I want to make sure that justice is done at the end of the case, and if justice means that the person is found guilty or pleads guilty, I want to make sure that that's the right outcome, and then what would the appropriate sentence or outcome be.
Warren believes that one of the reasons her re-election is so important is her involvement in the Melissa Jenkins murder case.
Danielle Kostruba is taking on incumbent Dean Shatney in the race for Caledonia County Sheriff. Kostruba is currently a detective in the Special Investigations Unit, and Shatney has been the sheriff for the last 3 years. Shatney has been focusing his efforts on extending town patrol hours, but if Kostruba is elected, she would like officers spending more time in schools getting to know the kids.
Ernest Balave is running for re-election for his 5th consecutive term as probate judge for Caledonia County. Although he is running unopposed now, Zarina Hagan was his opposition but dropped out after the primaries.
John Hall, Michael Roosevelt, and Roy C. Vance are all running for the assistant judge position in Caledonia County. Hall is currently the town manager of St. Johnsbury and believes he is more qualified for the position. Roosevelt is an art instructor at the Linden State College, but has experience working as a paralegal for a law firm in St. Johnsbury. And incumbent Roy C. Vance has held the position since 1987 and believes that he will be the top vote getter. There are 2 seats available for this position.
It looks as though James Hemmond will win the High Bailiff position for Caledonia County as he is running unopposed. As High Bailiff, Hemmond will attend court to execute orders, writs, and warrants. Hemmond won the primaries, receiving almost 100% of votes. Next, we will be crossing over into the Granite State, where Maggie Hassan is looking to be re-elected as governor.
And for the U.S. Senate race in New Hampshire, Scott Brown is hoping that his ongoing rivalry with Jeanne Shaheen takes a turn.
And I'll give you the details on your weather forecast coming up after this. Well, we finally saw some warmer temperatures compared to this weekend that we had with temperatures 5 to 10 degrees below normal. We finally saw temps back up to where they should be this time of year, back in the 40s yesterday and today even. But tomorrow is going to be the pick of the week. These are your headlines for you. The clouds are going to return, though, as you head towards Thursday, and then some more unsettled weather is in store for us here as we hit the end of our work week. The current temperatures across the region not looking too bad out there. 60s off down to the south of us, so we are in this warmer sector right now before this front passes through that we'll be talking about in just a bit. Right now up in our area, we're still hanging on to those mid-40s, and that's not really going to change for us too much as you head through the overnight hours. We've pretty much bottomed out here. Low temperatures tonight are only going to reach the 40s. This precipitation now that you're seeing off to our west, that's what's in store for us. That's what's going to be heading our way. But luckily, through the end of elections, most of us should stay dry. The cloud cover that we saw building in this afternoon, that's going to stay consistent with us here as you head through the overnight hours and into tomorrow as well. So there could be a lingering shower tomorrow morning, but I'll show you this. We have the rain showers moving in tomorrow morning. Things are going to start to clear out by the afternoon. So these clouds are going to start to push aside for us and we'll break up to finally see some peaks of sun by the afternoon tomorrow. Tomorrow is definitely going to be the pick of the day. Some sunshine, some warmer temperatures, dry weather too, but then as you head towards Wednesday night into your Thursday, we'll stay dry until Thursday afternoon. That's when all of this precipitation is going to be heading our way, and that's our next chance to see those rain showers move in, possibly a few flakes of snow mixing in too as you hit Friday morning as temperatures start to decrease, but nothing to talk about in terms of accumulations. That would only be in the mountains. We've only got some rain to talk about. So for tonight, those overnight showers starting to move their way in, lows staying in the low to mid 40s with that northwest wind out around 5 miles an hour. Sunset already happened, 4:36 p.m. That change in time, I mean, it's dark out there a lot earlier now. Tomorrow, definitely going to be a good one for us. Possibly the chance for a sprinkle to linger in the earlier morning hours, but by the afternoon, we'll be clearing things out and drying out too, seeing some peaks of sun in the afternoon hours. Temperatures staying mainly in the 50s for your day tomorrow. So definitely a beautiful day to get outside and enjoy it before some of this more unsettled weather hits. As you hit Thursday and into Friday, that's when the clouds are going to return, and that's when the showers are going to come back here for us too. Temperatures are going to start to dip as well. Once we hit the weekend, we'll be back down into the 30s, and it'll be chilly, but it looks like the weekend for the most part is going to be relatively dry. So
you know, that's not bad. I like, you know, tomorrow the pick week of 55 before things dip back. Pretty cold this weekend. When do you expect showers to wrap up?
Showers look like they'll be wrapping up later on Friday, possibly lingering into Saturday morning, but definitely Saturday looks to be mostly dry. Chance for showers again as you hit Sunday, but that's still pretty far out. So not too bad. Definitely tomorrow is going to be dry and a great day to get outside and enjoy it.
All right, well, thank you, Jacqueline. Yep. Now let's shift over to focus on the Granite State, where we find the current governor, Maggie Hassan, seeking her second term as governor in New Hampshire. If re-elected, her main goals include building a stronger middle class, a brighter economic future for the state of New Hampshire. Hassan also said that she prides herself for working across the aisle to support job creation. Running against Hassan for the Republicans is former Marine Corporal Walt Havenstein. Havenstein hopes to boost the economy in New Hampshire by lowering corporate tax, keeping New Hampshire graduates in the state, and not investing in expensive renewable energy projects. He also believes in the expansion of Medicare, gay rights, and freedom to carry a concealed weapon.
There are two candidates running for the United States Senate for New Hampshire. Democratic incumbent Jeanne Shaheen has been in office since 2009 and is looking to be re-elected once again. Republican candidate Scott Brown is also running for U.S. Senate, and between the two, it's been a close race. Shaheen plans on expanding the economy by working with small businesses, bringing down healthcare costs, and working to create better opportunities for veterans. Brown also wants to help veterans by finding jobs when returning home. He also wants to find an alternative to Obamacare, as well as finding better jobs for the community.
There are currently 3 candidates running for the New Hampshire House of Representatives in District 2. Democratic incumbent Ann McLean Custer was first elected into office in 2013. She is currently running against Republican Marlinda Garcia and Libertarian Brian Chabot. Custer has focused on conserving the environment, strengthening bipartisan organizations, and promoting agriculture. Garcia plans to replace Obamacare and end deficit spending and strengthen the immigration system. Chabot is a write-in candidate who supports gay marriage, legalizing marijuana, and wants to end the war on terror. Republican Rick Ladd is running unopposed for state representative in New Hampshire. The seat is for Crafton County District 4, which covers the towns of Benton, Haverhill, Piermont, and Warren. Ladd has been in office since 2008.
And for New Hampshire's state representative from District 14, Republican Brad Bailey is running for re-election against Democratic incumbent Douglas Grant. Both were unopposed in their primary races. If re-elected, Bailey plans to continue working on what he has been since 2012.
Well, if I'm re-elected, I'm going to continue to do what I'd done previously, which is a pro-jobs focus. So I will co-sponsor legislation that will make it easier for businesses to operate in the North Country, which will make it easier to hire more people and also welcome new companies into the area to hire more people as well.
Bailey won the election against Grant in 2012.
New Hampshire voting started off better than what officials thought. Gerald Wynn, the moderator for Littleton voting, said they had 400 voters after only being open for 2 hours. And the moderator, Dr. Nicholas McDonald of Haverhill, said they had 350 voters at the start of the afternoon. Among those voters was a 100-year-old man and a war veteran.
I voted every time I could.
Now, why is that?
Well, because I think it's the responsibility of people to decide the future of their country.
As a retired Marine who fought in Vietnam, the primary reason that I come out to vote is that I remember all of those 18 and 19-year-old men that were in my rifle company who can't vote because they were sacrificed in battle, and that's the main reason that I feel is my duty to vote.
The moderator said that the only way there would be a better turnout would be if there was younger voters.
Our coverage of election 2014 will be going on throughout the night. We have crews that will be monitoring results of the state races in Burlington, as well as back here in the Northeast Kingdom. We will bring you those results online at News 7 Newslink, as well as on social media via Facebook and Twitter.
Be sure to tune in tomorrow night for your complete election 2014 recap.
And from all of us here at the Vermont Center for Community Journalism, have yourselves a great night.